Be advised, the opinions and views of the hosts and guests do not reflect those of the station.
Good evening, everyone. This is Attorney April Mabanes, and you're watching Legal Network for Truthful Elections, or Lente, here on GNN. And joining me as host is Attorney Ona Caritos.
Good evening, Atty. April.
Good evening, Attorney Ona. Attorney Ona, during our show, last show that we had, we talked about election volunteers. No? So we had as our guest mga members ng PPCRV and also NAMFREL.
Yes.
And we talked about yung kanilang experience, groundwork during the last elections, or maybe elections even before last May 2010. And syempre, we also shared din our experience as member of Lente. But for this week, Attorney Ona, ano ba yung topic natin na pag-uusapan?
Attorney April, for tonight's episode, we will be talking about a topic close to our hearts.
Yes.
As Lente volunteers. At iyon ay election offenses. It's a topic, it's an advocacy that we started last year in the May 2010 elections.
Paano ba yung pinaka-advocacy? How can we term the advocacy na sinimulan natin? Accountability.
Ang term na lagi natin, ang byline natin is accountability.
Yes, okay. Pero siguro just to give our viewers a little idea, why did we decide to pursue this kind of accountability or this kind of program? Ano ba yung pumasok sa utak natin na bakit nga ba gawin natin tong program na to towards accountability?
Background muna, bakit natin pinapursue tong advocacy of accountability?
Yes.
Kasi napansin natin for the past few elections, ang laging naririnig natin, ang daming vote buying, ang daming vote selling, tapos ang daming nagrereklamo ng mga tao, tapos wala namang mga kaso. So gusto natin for the 2010 May elections, may makasuhan for vote buying, for vote selling. So natin, kung ano man, kung may violation, may accountability.
Yes. Siguro especially din with the idea na bago tong election natin last May 2010, no, because it is automated. No?
Pero kahit bago yung election natin last
Yes.
year, nakita natin yung realization na yung old school fraud, like vote buying, vote selling, sila yung mas naging rampant kumpara dun sa mga
Excuse me.
yung fraud na nakagisnan pag manual elections, dagdag bawas. That was not present last year, pero yung present, vote buying, vote selling.
Siguro especially with the fact na automated, so hindi masyadong maintindihan or hindi masyadong mag-grasp kung ano ba yung mangyayari during automated elections and even the machines or the process that we use now during the election. So, siguro like what we've observed, no, more than yung dagdag bawas or mga usual na election fraud na pangmalakihan, ang pinakamadalas nating nakita na election offense was actually vote buying and vote selling. No? Pero what we will realize during this discussion is yung vote buying, meron siyang kapartner na offense, which is vote selling. So if you let your votes be bought by the candidates, you're also guilty of vote selling. So two-way yung
Hindi yan
election
masyado
offense.
alam ng mga tao. Whenever we conducted yung accountability training sa ground, lagi ang tanong sa atin, may ganun palang offense, attorney.
oo.
Ang alam lang ng mga tao, vote buying. Pero yung vote selling, hindi nila alam na kasalanan pala yun.
Yes. So we go to the specifics, no, yung mga we go into details, no. So first, why did we decide to pursue yung accountability program? What are the reasons na pumasok sa utak natin as an organization?
There are three main reasons bakit natin pinursue tong accountability for
Yes.
election offenses. The first reason, it's a mode of deterrence. Dahil yung tingin naman natin, tinuturuan natin yung mga tao ng mga different election offenses.
Yes.
Ano yung gagawin nila pag nakita nila yung mga different election offenses na yan. So, feeling natin, kapag na-educate natin yung mga tao tungkol sa mga election offenses, alam nila at alam sila if ever makita nila yung mga election offenses na yan. Kaya mode of deterrence.
Saka there was this culture of impunity, no. Maraming mga election offenses na kukomit, pero hindi naman natatakot kasi ang sinasabi nila, ba't kami matatakot? May naparusahan na ba? O meron bang mekanismo para maparusahan kami? Ang hindi alam ng mga tao, ay meron, di ba? At masama talaga yun at pwedeng maparasahan under our laws. No? So, other than it being a mode of deterrence, ano pa ba yung mga reasons why we pursued accountability?
Yung second reason is to restore trust in the government.
Yes.
Kasi ang laging nireklamo ng mga tao, wala naman nakakasuhan, wala namang nakukulong. Sa atin, yung accountability advocacy natin, na isip natin, it's a way para alam ng tao na may ginagawa yung government. So, it's restoring trust of the people in the government.
Yes. And lastly, because syempre people empowerment din, no? Para rin makita ng tao at malaman nila na may magagawa sila to fight yung mga pandaraya or yung mga election offenses na nakukommit. No? Because sometimes, ang problema, wala lang silang education about it. No? Ano ba yung mali? Ano ba yung prosesong pwede nilang gawin para maparasahan yung mga tao na nagkukommit ng
Meron
election?
akong line na naisip dyan, Atty. April.
Okay, ano?
When you are educated, you are empowered.
Yes.
So, education is equal to empowerment.
Yes. Okay. So, yun yung mga reasons why we decided to pursue the accountability. So, for this program, we'll be looking at different election offenses sa iba't ibang stages ng election. No? So, we'll be looking at ano ba yung mga election offenses during registration, during the campaign, during election day itself, saka yung mga specific, like what are the election offenses that can be committed by the BEIs, and ano ba yung mga election offenses na makikita natin under the AES or the Automated Election System Law, no? RA 9369.
So, yun yung different stages, Atty.
Yes,
April,
oo.
ng mga election offenses. Simulan natin sa registration stage.
Yes, registration.
Pag registration, ano ba yung election offenses na pwedeng makommit?
Oo. Madalas dyan, ang problema kasi when it comes to registration is yung integrity ng voters list, di ba? Madalas meron dyan na yung mga names na hindi naman talaga qualified to become a registered voter, di ba? And madalas, ang nakukommit dyan o pwedeng makommit na offense is the unlawful inclusion or exclusion ng mga names ng mga voters. Ano ba yung unlawful inclusion or exclusion? For example, nagpapasok ka ng mga pangalan ng mga gustong mag-apply as a registered voter, pero yung mga tao na unang-una, hindi naman na-approve yung application, pero pinapasok mo dun sa list of voters or dun sa book of voters na tinatawag natin.
Cut kita, Atty. April.
Yes.
Naalala ko lang yung first episode natin, voters registration.
Yes, oo.
Doon natakal natin yung different requirements for a person to be a registered voter.
Oo.
So, ano nga ba ulit yon?
So, must be at least 18 years of age.
Legal age.
Oo, residency ng 6 months dun sa locality where they want to vote. And then, syempre, kailangan resident ka rin ng Philippines, no, for at least 1 year. So, those are the basic requirements, no. So, kung meron man na tao na hindi qualified, no, to become a registered voter, so, ibig sabihin, hindi naman talaga siya na-approve yung application kasi may disqualification siya. Pero may mga tao na nagpasok pa rin ng mga pangalan nila doon sa book of voters, that can be considered as an election offense.
So, Atty. April, kapag pinasok na isang tao yung pangalan, for example, ni Juan de la Cruz, na hindi naman siya tiga Barangay Tumana, Marikina, tiga QC siya. So, bawal yun.
Bawal yun, that is considered as unlawful inclusion kasi meron siyang disqualification which is the residency ng 6 months doon sa locality.
Sino pwedeng mag-commit ng offense na yan, Atty. Apes?
Madalas, syempre, well, we're not saying na yun yung nagko-commit, pero syempre, madalas yung COMELEC officials. Why? Because they're the ones na merong custody ng mga book of voters or yung central files, diba? So, or anyone, maybe pwedeng may access ng mga book of voters na yan, di ba? So, pwede rin. Other than inclusion, pwede rin exclusion. For example, merong mga voters na approve na yung kanilang application for registration. Actually, nandun na sila sa book of voters, pero tinatanggal yung mga pangalan nila without any process. So, we call that as unlawful exclusion.
Nangyayari yan kapag, for example, yung isang politiko, dehado sa isang lugar, pinapa-exclude yung mga supporter, yung mga hindi niya supporters.
Parang tinatanggal na lang yung pangalan sa mga book of voters, no? That is considered as an election offense. Why? Because under our law, any name na nandoon sa ating book of voters or nandoon sa central files can only be excluded through due process. So, meron niyang proseso na tinatawag natin exclusion, diba? So, under our law, merong mga dapat gawin para mapatanggal yung mga pangalan. It actually goes through our courts, no? So, hindi pwedeng basta-basta na lang
So, hindi
magtanggal.
ako pwedeng pumunta sa COMELEC, reklamo ko yung kapitbahay ko na hindi ko naman kapitbahay talaga yan
Hindi, yun. meron yan, we call that as petition for exclusion. So, kung meron tayong mga kilala ng mga tao na nakarehistro no, doon sa isang locality, and we know those persons have disqualifications, meaning baka hindi 18 years of age, na nakikita natin madalas sa Mindanao. May mga ganun eh. Nung bigay ako ng seminar sa Mindanao, no? Actually sa Lanao del Norte, palagi yung sinasabi na, especially rampant sa Lanao del Sur, meron daw na mga below 18 years of age that are able to register. So that is a disqualification. Next, kung hindi ka naman resident talaga, so nagpa-register ka lang doon just to support or dagdagan yung boto ng isang kandidato in that locality. So that is also a disqualification. So, kung meron kang alam na tao na disqualified at hindi dapat nandun sa book of voters, ang gagawin mo is you will file a petition for exclusion. Yan, pina-file yan sa court, no, sa MTC, sa Municipal Trial Court, and that will undergo process, no. So, madalas ang problema dyan, yung tinatawag natin like we discussed last time, is yung hakot, no. So, marami na hindi naman talaga sila residente, pero pinaparegister siya ng mga candidates. Why? Para mapad yung mga botong makukuha nila sa isang locality.
Pero Atty. Ipil, sabi mo, fina-file yan sa courts,
yes.
MTC.
Oo.
And known yung courts natin na mabagal.
Oo.
Paano yun?
Pero kasi election cases, meron siyang priority, no? Na yun muna yung una i-hear, kasi nga, syempre, malapit na, dapat maihabol dun sa elections. But take note, pwede mo siya naman i-file anytime. Yun nga sinasabi natin, bakit yung mga tao, kunyari yung mga groups, no, na gustong linisin yung book of voters, usually, gumagalaw lang sila bago na pag malapit ng election.
Katulad ng experience natin sa barangay elections last year.
But the thing is, they can file it anytime, even kahit malayo pa ang election. Ang only limitation lang is that you should not file it 100 days before the date of the election. You can still file anytime. Okay, so dapat kailangan umak pa lang sila, malayo pa lang yung election para hindi sila umabot doon sa 100 days. Plus the fact na dapat magkaroon sila ng favorable decision from the court even before the date of the election. Diba? Kasi remember, our experience during the barangay elections, maaga pa lang, para mga September 20 pa lang or the end of September, naglabas ng COMELEC resolution, no, saying na yung mga petitions for exclusion or inclusion na hindi pa na-decide before the end of September, hindi na isususpend, hindi na siya i-consider. So, kahit nag-file ka na, kung hindi umabot dun sa deadline yung desisyon ng court, hindi na mako-consider yon na ipatanggal or idagdag yung mga pangalan sa book of voters.
Dagdag ko lang, Atty. April, kasi baka nalilito yung audience natin. May kaibahan kapag patay yung gusto mo patanggal sa voters list. Kapag patay, hindi mo na kailangan pumunta sa korte. Pupunta ka lang sa COMELEC, magpapa-cancel ka ng registration.
Pwede yun, no? Pero that can also be included, no, for a petition for exclusion. Pero nga, for
mas mabilis.
Purposes of, para mas mabilis, expediency, katulad ng sinabi nila Director Dayoneda and also ni EO Aguinaldao,
Attorney
no?
Francis.
Yes. During our discussion, you can just go to the election officer and then show, ma'am, sir, ito po, patay na po kamag-anak ko to. Ito po yung death certificate. Hanggang ngayon, nandun pa rin po sila dun sa listahan ng mga botante. No? Pwede na lang gawin yun para na hindi matagal dun sa petition for exclusion.
Aside from petitions for inclusion, exclusion,
yes,
ano pa yung pwedeng mga action na i-file ng isang tao na concerned sa voters list or sa book of voters?
Yes, we also have what we call as yung annulment of book of voters.
Kasal ba yan? Kasal
Hindi.
ba ina-annul?
Annul is sabihin, pinapawalang visa yung book of voters o yung mga listahan ng mga registered voters sa isang locality, no? You can actually do it if meron kayong proof, no, na yung book of voters was actually made under force, under intimidation, so hindi talaga walang integrity yung book of voters, or those that are statistically improbable, no? So, meron mga taong lumalapit sa amin na, ma'am, ba't ganito? Ang liit-liit lang nung barangay namin, pero yung registered voter dun sa barangay namin, ang laki-laki, which is statistically improbable, no? Minsan, thousands eh. Hindi naman kasya yung ganung karaming tao sa barangay. What we tell to them, you know, sir, if you have proof na ganito lang talaga yung mga taong nakatira dyan, at based on the book of voters, hindi nire-reflect na talagang ganyan lang yung tao, you can actually file for the annulment of book of voters.
Saan ka nagpa-file, Atty. April?
So, sa court din yan.
Sa court din.
Oo. So, but the thing is, you cannot file it 90 days
So,
before.
pareho lang na exclusion.
Pareho lang na may limit. So, that's why we always tell them, don't wait hanggang malapit na yung election kasi mawawalan talaga kayo ng time para magkaroon ng favorable decision from the court.
So, Attorney, balikan ko lang yung first election offense sa diniscuss natin.
Yes.
Unlawful inclusion or exclusion
Yes.
of voters. Sinong pwede maging liable? COMELEC lang ba?